Hello, my name is Anthony Lungsheng, tax leader for PwC Mauritius, and I'll be taking you through our analysis of the national budget 2017 and 18. Our review of the national budget will be in three parts. In the first part, I'll give you a macroeconomic perspective of Mauritius. Then we'll follow up with hearing some of our industry leaders, and we'll finally finish off with our overall commentaries on the budgetary measures. Mauritius has been doing relatively well despite the difficult international context. The world economy has slowed down, especially given the weakening of the emerging markets, as well as the uncertainties created in the US following the Trump elections or in the UK following the Brexit vote. Against this backdrop, the Mauritian economy has grown by 3.9% this year and is forecast to be flat at 4.1% next year. So the outlook remains challenging. Inflation has been contained at 2.1% this year, despite the high US dollar to Mauritian rupee, as well as a general upward trend in oil prices following the lows of 2016. With the general uplift in commodity prices as well as domestic demand, inflation for next year is expected to edge up to 3%. The budget deficit for 2016-17 is at 2%. Government revenues continue to be supported by the level of tax buoyancy as tax revenue collection increased by 10.3%. On the other hand, government expenditure keeps increasing. And at this rate, although the deficit is contained to 2%, the gap is widening from 8.7 billion in 2016-17 to 9.3 billion next year. With the availability of external grants from foreign governments, as well as transfer from special reserves, the public debt to GDP ratio is expected to fall to 63% next year. However, it would appear that the $500 million of line of credit from the government of India has not been included in public debt. We at PwC believe that if an amount is refundable, then it should be accounted for as public debt, irrespective of what it's called. Therefore, if the public debt were to be readjusted, we would arrive at a public debt to GDP ratio of 66%. Now let's hear from some of our industry leaders.
The proposed creation of the international capital market for multi-currency bonds and the issuance of commercial papers will widen our investment opportunities. At PwC Mauritius, we've always been the promoter of the fintech revolution, and we're pleased to hear that measures being announced for the promotion of Mauritius as a fintech hub for Africa. If those measures are implemented, they will bring great innovation to our financial services sector. But we need to have the adequate resources to regulate those activities. The minimum capital requirements for banks will increase from 200 million to 400 million over a period of 2 years for banks to adjust their capital. Lastly, for the elaboration of the blueprint of our financial services sector, we'll encourage more collaboration between our public and our private sector. But how long will it take, as we currently have to address pressing issues in our global business sector?
By far the boldest measure of this budget for manufacturing enterprises is the drop of the corporation tax rate from 15% to 3%. This would be a big relief to local operators who are already considering moving abroad. Having space in Ivory Coast and Senegal is an excellent initiative and will help enterprises locally establish themselves on the continent to sell to Africans. The relaxation of terms around expatriate employment will be certainly welcomed by local operators who struggle to find talent. On the 8-year tax holiday for high-tech manufacturing products, pharmaceutical, medical devices, that is clearly a step of the government trying to sophisticate the manufacturing in Mauritius, bringing more value to it locally and attracting high talent in the country.
Government confirmed its political commitment on water supply and continued efforts to upgrade public infrastructure. That's good, but continued debt financing has been the chosen option. That's too easy in our view. This equates to more government involvement as opposed to less. Could a PPP model be considered instead for large infrastructure projects? With increasing giveaways and light on transformational economic policies, has government compromised growth as opposed to more debt? Public sector reforms should therefore continue to ensure sustainability of our services.
Public and private sector investment continues to be constrained by administrative bottlenecks, lack of human resource capacity, or delays in the tendering and procurement process. In 2016-17, out of the 35 billion rupees of public infrastructure investment, only 24 billion was actually spent. Here we welcome the new budgetary measures in terms of the creation of the Economic Development Board, the e-licensing platform, or other public institution reforms. All these should have a positive impact. However, based on past experience, there is a low adoption of electronic platforms, and unless there's a change in the working culture, there is unlikely to be significant efficiency gains. Investment in transport and utilities continues to dominate. 14 billion of investment in water projects is expected over the next few years. In the past, those investments were made out of the Build Mauritius Fund. And as those funds now become extinguished, there will be a lot of pressure on public infrastructure and public finances. Mauritius has one of the lowest average costs per cubic meter of water consumed. While investment in water projects is welcome, the economic costs of such investment are simply not being passed on to the consumer. On the tax front, the minister had tried to balance the need to attract investment for tax holidays and reduce rate on exports with the need to protect the erosion of the tax base. In an attempt to protect and promote equality, the government has introduced a new solidarity levy of 5% on high-income earners. However, inequality could have been tackled by other means. For example, targeted social measures in terms of free transport, pensions, or food subsidies. The government spends around 31 billion rupees on social security and benefits. With the availability of the income exemption threshold and other reliefs, only 100,000 people pay tax in Mauritius, representing 18% of the workforce. With this new solidarity levy, the burden of taxation on this 18% of the workforce would even be more. Overall, the macroeconomic fundamentals appears to be sound. However, the budget does not appear to have gone far enough to tackle some of the challenges and restore confidence. Even more, the budget doesn't address some of the most critical issues, such as the BAI funding gap or the Betamax ruling. For transparency, the population needs to understand its implications, and the budget simply doesn't appear to be telling the full story. We remain in the dark in terms of how these costs will be